So when I prepare for a long passage or a short passage, but mostly for a long passage where you're going to be away from any help or any shore, what I try to do is a list of what if. What if the rudder breaks? What if the keels falls off? What if I dismast, etc., etc. And the most points you have thought about and kind of sort of a plan B, the safer you are. Or maybe you're not safe, but at least you know that you'll find a solution to your problem, or at least you thought about it, or maybe you carried on some spare. Alright, so today I've received something really cool, which is this. It's not a suitcase, it's a solar panel. Super convenient, really cool. That's 120 watts foldable solar panel. Let's see, it's 3-part. This is going to be my spare solar panel. I have, of course, the 2 solar panel at the back of the boat that stay there constantly, and I have a third one that we call in French a panneau volant, so a flying solar panel. I have it below deck and I just put it out when I need a bit of extra energy. The idea is that if these ones fail, or if there isn't enough sunlight for a little bit, as soon as there is sun, I use this one, put it on deck and get extra charge. This one is super convenient because it folds easily and goes somewhere below into the boat. It's protected, so I won't damage it and make everything fall at the same time. It comes with an MPPT, so this is what basically takes whatever current comes from the sun through the solar panel, which is not constant. This MPPT is going to kind of smoothen the electricity that goes into your battery. So basically the solar panel is plugged with this cable, so sun comes this way, and then stable nice current to charge your battery goes this way into your domestic battery. I'm going to install them now and show you where I'm going to store them, but just see how the format is pretty convenient. I can just toss them below like this. Et voila. And now let's connect them. Right, let's go into the boat. Always really nice. Oh. Okay, so here I've installed the MPPT next to the other one, so yeah, this MPPT is for the solar panels that are at the back outside, and now I'm going to connect this MPPT to the solar panel. So these 2 cables here are onto the battery port, and I'm going to connect the other port to PV here, which is, I don't know, short for photovoltaic, don't know. Anyway, connecting these to those, and then this I'll plug to the solar panel. Plus and minus are connected, and now this goes onto the solar panel, and it should work. And so now the last thing I need to do is connect the solar panel to the MPPT. So it should work now. And yes, it works. Started blinking orange over there. So good to go. In the idea of racing as fast as possible, I have one thing that is super important on board is my autopilot. The autopilot, I've showed it to you in other videos. It's a T1 Raymarine hooked to an NKE system. So this is the NKE control. It's hooked onto a computer, you know, just a brain, and onto a compass. And all this together makes a lot of different elements, a lot of weight. So for my system, it's fine. But having a spare screen, a spare push rod, a spare computer, a spare compass, a spare etc. ends up being too much weight and not worth, you know, it's really unlikely that this system breaks because it's you know, it's calculated for both much bigger than this one, so it's super efficient, super strong. I'll just bring, you know, some little spare for the push rod, like the belt or things like this. But other than this, there is no point of bringing everything spare for that system. Instead, I'm going to have a different system of autopilot, which is this one, TP32 from Simrad. This is the biggest one of these three. There is TP10, TP22 and TP32. The biggest one, it's meant for boats, you know, up to I think 10 meters, but the force is on a boat like this one, like a fast going boat, a mini. It's not ideal, but at least it will do the work if the main system comes to fail. So I'm going to install this and then hope not to have to use it. So let's see what's in there. There we go. So I have the push rod itself. So basically this will go in the deck and this will go into the handle of the steering, and then pushing or pulling it will steer the boat more or less. These are the instructions, warranty, that's for connecting it, screws and pins and stuff, and that's it. Pretty simple, really. And also because this needs to be mounted to a certain distance from the tiller, and this distance would have been ending up somewhere here. There was nowhere to plug that pin into the deck here, so I've ordered at the same time a cantilever that will, you know, kind of offset the position and have it somewhere there. So yeah, that's the plan. It's mount this first and then the rest. So yesterday I mounted this bracket here just with butyl tape, and now I'm going to put the pin for the autopilot push rod to go in there. And what I'm going to do, I've drilled a bigger hole because the inside of the tiller is foam. So as soon as you go through, you know, any deck surface or anything that has maybe wood, balsa in it or foam or anything, you need to create kind of an insert. Otherwise, when you're going to compress it by tightening the nuts, you're gonna crush the fiber and the foam, and that's not ideal. So I've drilled a hole that is bigger than what I needed, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge it to fill it with resin with silicate in it. So it's basically just a paste of resin. So the idea is to just reinforce the core before drilling again in it and putting the pin. I'm just going to put some tape under so the resin doesn't go everywhere, and I'll fill it from the top. So first I'm going to put just a little bit of resin on the sides of the... I'm just going to now put a little bit of resin in there, just to make sure that the bond between the foam around and the feeder is as good as possible. There we go. Now I'm going to add the silicate into the resin. So this is just like making crepes. You add a little, shake it properly, and then add more if needed. And that's at least the way I do crepes. There you go. Once you reach the consistency you wanted, just add this. Now just leaving it cure and then drill and then done. Right, so still on the autopilot install. This has been curing overnight. I'm just now going to drill through and install the pin. Actually the pin was coming just a flush piece of stainless steel, which wasn't really useful for me. I would have needed to kind of glue it in really thin material. Not a big fan, so I've found a workshop to weld a piece of bolt under, so I can bolt it on both sides. This will be much better. Hey, what up? That's the job's done, and now I'm going to take care of the electrical part. It's pretty simple. The autopilot comes with this cable. This is what mounts onto the deck outside, and there is one cable. This is to go to the nav station part. This is also some data cable, not sure what, maybe a remote, and this is the electric cable, so plus and minus. For me, I'll just be using it as a spare pilot, so I'm not connecting it to the NKE system. I'm just connecting the plus and minus. I've added, extra lengths of cable because otherwise it's really short, and I've just soldered a little the end of the cable so I can plug them directly. Normally what I would do would be to plug it onto the main control panel for electricity. What I'm going to do is a little trick. By no means it's ideal or safe or the best practice, and probably if you're an electrician you'll shout at me. But what I'm going to do is plug it onto the output of my MPPT of the solar panel. So if there is a problem with the electrical system or whatever happens, my guess is that in sunny condition the autopilot will be able to use the power that goes straight out of the MPPT. And if the system is working properly, the battery is being connected to the output of the MPPT anyway, there will be charge, but that's kind of a redundancy thing. So I'll try this, let's see if it works. Okay, let's go in the stomach of the beast. So here you have the MPPT. I'm just gonna plug it on there. So now I've connected the cables and I've run them down there, up there, and I've chose not to drill through the deck to get the plug outside. It's better inside since it's a spare autopilot, and I'll just get the cable through the escape hatch if I need to use it. Connect this extension. Let's see, it goes boom. Problem. There we go. I've plugged it. There's lights. That's good. Of course, I haven't read the manual, so I don't know, but that's a strong connection. Okay, seems like it's working. This was an easy one. Alright, let's try it in the water now. Okay, so eventually I think it's useful to read the instructions because I need to select the level of response. So let me see how I do this.
Là, je crois que j'ai réussi.
Woo! Okay, so in that case, it is useful to check the manual to know which button to play. And even by reading the manual, it's not that easy. But the idea is just to find the correct way to set it up and to set up the level of response. Basically, the idea is to never to have to use this thing because it's not gonna be fun. But anyway, it works well. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, let's try it in the Spinnaker now.